This case has multiple suspects, different interrogation rooms, and a thrilling escape from court. But what it's missing is a profiler. So after gathering some key details about the case and the main suspects, we'll step into the crime scene as a profiler.
What? What did I say to my dad? I lied.
Analyzing every move and uncovering the most likely story, step by step. September 8th, 2014. Nan Yao Su, a professor at the University of California, was getting ready for class when he checked his home's security cameras on his phone. That's when he saw a young, skinny white man wearing a ski mask lurking around his property. Moments later, one by one, the cameras went dark. Feeling uneasy, Nan Yao immediately called his wife, who was home alone. No answer. Then he tried his son, Justin, hoping this was just some kind of prank. But Justin had been out since 9 a.m. and hadn't returned. Worried, he rushed home to check things out. He parked in the garage, walked past their dog sleeping in the yard, and stepped inside. That's when he noticed something strange. The wires from the security cameras had been pulled out. As he walked past his open bedroom door, he saw his belongings scattered everywhere, and his knife drawer left wide open. Then he heard something. The sound of running water coming from the bathroom. He stepped closer and saw the bathtub. It was filled to the top, and the water was deep red. Then the phone at the Davie Police Department started ringing.
My mom killed herself.
Okay.
In the bathtub.
What is your name?
Justin too. Oh my God, my mom.
Okay. Breathing?
No, she's not. I tried. She's not. Oh my God.
Justin arrived home around 12:37 p.m. As he walked from the master bedroom toward the bathroom, he saw something that made his heart drop. His mother, Jill, face down in the bathtub. Her hands and feet were tied. Her body was covered in blood. She wasn't moving. Panicked, Justin pulled her out of the tub and started CPR, but it was too late. Jill Halliburton, 59 years old, had been stabbed 27 times.
You know what? I don't know if it's a murder. I think her hands are tied.
When did you
Oh
find
my
out?
God, I'm so scared right now.
Okay.
And everything, you know what? Oh my God. Yeah, I don't think anyone's here, but gotta be arrested already. But so
No one else is there?
no, she really committed suicide. I'm sorry today. I just thought I was doing, but someone killed her. Someone killed my mom. I'm sorry. Oh my God.
Let's take a look at the crime scene. Jewelry boxes were scattered across the master bedroom floor. Drawers were open, their contents tossed around. A part of the closet was broken, and after a closer look, police realized why. The home's security system had been ripped out from inside the wall. A shattered glass door near the bedroom showed how the killer had entered. But here's the strange part. The front door was still locked from the inside. Right outside that door, investigators found a knife on the ground. Not far from it, a coiled green belt was discovered. Inside the bedroom, a broken vase and a blood-stained pillow hinted at a violent struggle. Then, inside the bathroom, another knife was found, lying at the bottom of the tub. This raised a chilling possibility. Could two intruders have broken in that day? At first, it seemed like a burglary, but after a quick investigation, that theory fell apart. Despite the mess in the bedroom, the rest of the house was untouched, and nothing was stolen. So, if this wasn't a robbery, then what really happened here?
That's the only thing I can think of. The other thing I can think of is, whoever did this, know where the security camera is. They know this camera.
Well, let me ask you, who knows where these security cameras
My
are?
son.
You have a large amount of valuables inside the house?
No.
Okay. You ever had any enemies, any problems with anybody? Have you ever had any kind of instance like this before? Somebody trying to break into your home or anything like that?
No. We lived in that house for 14 years. Never breaking at all.
Jill was the granddaughter of the founder of the Halliburton Empire. During her third year of college, she traveled to Japan, where she met Nan Yao Su, the man she would later marry. In the early 90s, they moved to Florida and built a life together. They had 2 children, Amanda first, and 3 years later, Justin. Fast forward to August 2014. Jill and Nan Yao decided to take a 10-day trip to Malaysia, leaving their home in Justin's care. Just a few weeks before the trip, they installed a home surveillance system, but here's where things take an unlucky turn. They only signed up for a 30-day free trial, and 2 days before the crime, the trial expired. The cameras stopped recording. They could only be used for live viewing. People close to the family describe Jill and Nan Yao as a happy couple. Jill had inherited a family fortune, and Nan Yao, an internationally recognized expert, landed major contracts. Financial struggles? Not an issue. Which means Nan Yao had no clear motive to kill his wife. Besides, he had an airtight alibi. He was at work when the murder happened. Their daughter, Amanda, had been living in Kentucky for years, so that only left one person, Justin. From the start, detectives suspected that he and his mother had an argument, maybe over school, maybe something else. Things escalated. Justin grabbed a knife and killed her. And there was one more thing. The masked intruder Nan Yao had seen on the live feed, a thin young white male, just like Justin.
So you told 911 she killed herself in the bathtub?
That's what I thought.
She was already out.
That's what I told my dad.
She was already out when you were on the phone 911.
Yeah.
So by that point you knew that she hadn't killed herself in the bathtub.
No.
This is gonna be a lot of you trying to remember your own lives.
No, it's not, man. Like I said, man, like...
And that's gonna be a lot harder for you.
I don't know,
what you
dude.
think.
Once I saw my mom's body, man, I don't know.
You know what it is? You thought you were smarter than everybody else, and now you're trying to remember your own lies, and you're eating it. It's much harder to try to remember your lies.
I'm so stressed. No, I didn't. I didn't.
Your mother.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't, sir.
You did. 1,000%.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
1,010% sure didn't.
Bro, it's obvious you did.
No, I didn't.
So obvious.
No, I didn't. I was at PC the whole time, dude.
Trying to give dispatch a thousand different reasons why it happened. When you know well, you
What do
just
you mean
brought
give
her out.
dispatch 1,000 reasons?
Yeah. You
What,
switched it up like 10 times on him.
What'd I say?
I'm not gonna tell you what you said.
Dude, I was so confused. I thought...
I know what you said because I took detailed notes about what you said.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't remember what you said because you're trying to remember what you said.
Justin's relationship with his parents had been strained ever since he dropped out of college in the fall of 2014 and moved back home. He was taking some local college classes, but for his high-achieving parents, that wasn't enough. For a family of success and prestige, Justin was far from the ideal son. When detectives put together the family tension, his familiarity with the home's security system, and the fact that he was the one who called 911 after finding Jill's body, they knew exactly who their main suspect was.
And where were you?
In my car?
What were you doing in your car?
Sleeping?
Be honest with me.
Our lives have just been a lot worse since I moved back. And we got into a lot of fights in between this and that. And so that's why when I first saw her, I was like, why could you do this to us? Like, why'd you leave us?
Supposedly, by what you're saying, they went into your room, specifically got your knives, and I guess possibly used that to kill your mom, right? That's what you said.
I'm going to jail, aren't I? For something I didn't even do. It wasn't me! I'm not gonna calm down, I'm sorry!
Described you on that camera.
What?
Pretty much.
My dad?
Described you. Yes. So much so that that's why he called you and said, man, are you playing a joke in front of that camera? Because he knew it was you in front of that camera. You know your dad's pretty sure that you're the one he saw on that camera.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my...
Doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
The second we sat down to talk to you, you've lied to us.
About what?
So you want to start coming clean? This is your only opportunity.
Oh my
Inconsistency
You understand?
with your dad.
What? What did I say to my dad? What? I lied to my dad. I told him I was going to work. Why, man? Oh, why did I lie to you?
According to reports, when officers first arrived at the scene, Justin looked suspiciously clean from the waist down, a sign that he had likely changed his clothes before police arrived. In his initial call to his father, he claimed he had been attending classes at the local college. But later, his story changed. He said he had actually been sleeping in his car on campus. Even more suspicious, when he got home, he didn't go straight to check on his mom. Instead, he first went to his own room to check his belongings. And then, there were the knives. Both knives found at the crime scene came from Justin's own collection. It was as if he had killed his mother with the very knife she had gifted him. Then, he called the police and claimed she had taken her own life.
My mom was murdered! For God's sakes! I found her dead! I found her! I have to live with that! And you guys are thinking I did it?
Yes. You didn't wake up saying, "Oh, I'm gonna kill my mom today." But when it happened, hit the fan. You really didn't. You're racing to cover the up to make it look like a robbery, and it was a bad.
Why the hell would I murder my mom in the middle of this? I don't see why. I love my mommy. I want her to be alive. I want her to be alive.
Another suspicious detail in Justin's case was what he did just days before the murder. While his parents were away on their trip, he threw a party at the house, and that night he covered all the security cameras.
The other side of the camera was being, he put a cap on it to disable it. Some of his friends coming over. So immediately text message is, why on the weekday you have a friend over? You're not supposed to do that. On the weekday, you're supposed to devote your time for study. So do not do that, and whoever is there, get them out. I don't want to see these people in my house. And he obviously, he text message one more time and say, "I'm sorry. It would never happen again," and everybody's out.
Now that we're somewhat familiar with the case and its details, it's time to step into the crime scene as profilers. The first clue is the bloody knife found by the entrance, which suggests a hasty exit and likely an unplanned escape. There are two important things about the weapon and its location. The killer either had limited access to weapons or they were ready to use whatever they could find in the house to improvise the murder. Leaving the weapon in front of the door shows that the perpetrator was in a panic. They definitely fled in a rush, likely due to fear of getting caught or unable to control emotional reactions. This suggests the killer was probably not mentally prepared for murder, and as a result, they lost control at the moment. The victim's body was found in the bathtub, with hands and feet tied using an electrical cord. This suggests the killer wanted control, possibly to prevent escape. In many cases, this kind of restraint is used when the perpetrator wants something from the victim or seeks revenge. Research shows that this behavior is more common in individuals who feel insecure or have a strong need for dominance. On top of that, restraining the victim is a control tactic, which implies a personal motive behind the crime. Then there's the 26 stab wounds, an extreme level of violence. This kind of overkill often signals deep personal emotions, so the killer either knew the victim or was highly triggered by something specific. With this many stab wounds, they were either drowning their own fear or unleashing pure rage. Analyzing the statements Justin made to the police adds a layer of complexity to the case. When he found his mother's body, his first assumption was suicide. This reaction could indicate emotional detachment or an inability to process the reality of the situation. His mind, in shock and denial, may have been trying to escape the truth that his mother was brutally attacked. This also hints at possible psychological pressures within the family, which might have shaped his perception of the situation. Then there's the knife collection, which adds another layer of suspicion. It shows he was familiar with weapons. However, we need to be cautious. Jumping to conclusions based on surface-level evidence can be misleading.
I didn't do it. Honestly, I can't even see living with my dad. It'd be crazy. It's really strict and shit. I need her. I needed her in my life. I need her in my life still. She's gone.
Before the cameras went dark, they captured an unknown figure, an important detail. Either the criminal knew exactly how to disable the system, or it was simply a malfunction. But if it was deliberate, it shows that the suspect planned his entry and was well aware of the building's security setup. Now let's take a closer look at three key images. The victim's body was found in the bathtub, right next to a water source, which suggests the killer might have intended to clean the scene by eliminating blood evidence, making it harder for the police to piece things together. The bathtub, a confined space, would have been ideal for controlling the victim and preventing any escape. Then there's the unusual method of restraint. The victim's hands and feet were tied with an electrical cable. This isn't just a display of raw physical violence. It also hints at a psychological effort to humiliate and control the victim. Much like the use of a knife in other cases, the killer's decision to use an electrical cable, an item readily available in the house, points to a lack of premeditation. The overall disarray at the scene even suggests that the criminal might have been after valuables or important documents. Yet since nothing significant was stolen, it's more likely that he was staging the scene, hoping to mislead the police into chasing a seasoned thief. Ultimately, to make a more accurate judgment, we'll need to wait until DNA evidence and additional security camera footage from the area fill in the missing pieces of this puzzle.
When you guys find out you're wrong, I hope you come and say sorry to me, man, or something.
But I know I'm not wrong.
Well, you are. I'm sorry, detective, but you're thinking wrong.
10 days later, the DNA test results came in, adding a shocking twist to the case. The DNA found on the knife and the belt lying on the floor didn't belong to Justin Sue, Jill Halliburton's son. Instead, both traces led to a 20-year-old man named Dionte Rasiles. Dionte lived nearly 30 kilometers away from the Sue family's home. While he had no history of violent crimes, his record was filled with theft-related offenses. There was no known connection between him and the Sue family, yet his DNA was found on key pieces of evidence linked to the murder.
Talking about some burglars.
What about a bird?
Well, let's before we talk to you, I gotta read you his rights. You don't want to talk to me?
I don't know what's going on, so.
Okay, no problem. You're gonna be charged with first-degree murder.
Well, first,
First-degree murder, okay?
what am I being charged with? First degree murder for?
Can't talk to you, so.
Dionte, known as Moochie among his friends, was a regular kid until he was around 14 or 15. He stayed out of trouble and focused on school. But over time, his attitude changed. By high school, he had completely abandoned his studies and replaced school with the wrong crowd. Reports show that by the time he turned 18, he had already been arrested 8 times for various thefts. His method was simple. He would rent expensive cars, wear disguises, and blend into wealthy neighborhoods while scouting for luxury homes to rob. In his community, Moochie was seen as a kind of Robin Hood. The money he stole often went toward unpaid rent and utility bills for struggling families. Every time he pulled off a job, he would set aside $1,000 to buy diapers and groceries for single mothers in need. On September 18, 2014, just as his DNA test results led police to his doorstep, Moochie was awaiting the birth of his first child. Time passed. By the summer of 2016, he was still in custody, and his daughter was nearing her second birthday. Legally, he was out of options, so he decided there was only one way out: escape. From inside prison, he managed to form relationships with 3 different women, each believing they were his girlfriend. In reality, they were all pieces of his escape plan. He also enlisted 2 of his cousins to handle the rest of the operation. Then, on July 15, 2016, as he was escorted to a pre-trial hearing, everything fell into place. With the help of a corrupt guard, he slipped out of his handcuffs and ankle shackles, stripped off his prison uniform, and made his way toward a side exit. No one inside the courtroom noticed what was happening until it was too late. Without triggering a single alarm, Dionte walked out through the north exit, jumped into a waiting car, and vanished. The reward for information leading to Dionte's arrest kept increasing in the week following his escape, eventually reaching $50,000. But the local community, who saw him as a rebellious hero, wasn't exactly eager to help the police. Some even went as far as providing false tips about his whereabouts, deliberately delaying his capture. Still, after 6 days on the run, the chase came to an end. Dionte was found at a hotel in West Palm Beach, casually eating pizza. After his arrest, he wrote a letter to the judge apologizing for his actions. He claimed that the reason he had escaped was to gather evidence proving his innocence, and that, in his mind, he had only done what he thought was right.
A lot of people question themselves, well, if he's innocent, why would he escape? I'll be the person to answer it for you. I currently have a daughter in which I have not seen or held from birth. Not only that, you tell me if you have been placed in jail for a crime you know nothing about or never committed, would you sit in jail? Let me answer it for you logically. No. Their word is still is trying to kill me by lethal injection. I don't know if you ever witnessed it happen. You should go to YouTube or read up on it. My voice was not heard when I pleaded my innocence. It went overlooked. I refuse to be one of those inmates that gets his sentence overturned because there was flaws that went overlooked and were later discovered. Again, I will say it. My name is Deontay Rezelis, and I am innocent.
I would never take a wife from her husband. I would never take a mother from her child. They alleged 25 times Mrs. Sue was stabbed. That's beyond my comprehension. I don't possess the hate, rage inside my heart to commit such a heinous crime. They can hook me up to a polygraph test at any given time. Ask me any question they wish, and my answer will remain the same. I did not kill Mrs. Sue.
Even though Deontay's DNA was found on the knife and the belt, there was no trace of it on the victim's body, the bathtub, or even the faucet. Still, he was charged with first-degree murder. The truth is, DNA can be transferred in countless ways, sometimes even accidentally in a lab, where a suspect's sample might mix with evidence. This sparked a major debate among the jurors. Some saw the DNA test as flawed and argued that it wasn't solid enough to convict someone of first-degree murder. Others, however, looked at his history of theft and his dramatic prison escape and felt certain Deontay was the one who killed Jill Halliburton. When we look at Deontay's case, we're faced with countless unanswered questions. None of the neighbors saw him near or around the victim's house on the day of the incident. Not a single security camera captured footage of him either. Even the footage from the security guard cameras that recorded Justin, the victim's son, entering after the time of the murder became a key piece of evidence proving his innocence. But they didn't capture Deontay's entrance. With all these missing pieces in the puzzle, Deontay's final court session took place in 2022. During this session, the prosecutor claimed that the defendant forcibly entered the house and that it was Jill who had tried to escape. Deontay, in that moment, had decided he would kill her in the house, tie her up, and take her to the bathroom. We know what happened next. Another piece of evidence was revealed during the trial, making things even harder for Deontay. Reports showed that he had smuggled a phone into his cell and had coordinated with his friends and associates to create a false alibi for the day of the murder, claiming he had been in another city. However, his phone's location records proved he was exactly in the area where the crime had taken place. In the end, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for first-degree murder, prison escape, and 37 other charges, including theft, conspiracy, and evidence tampering.